What's up, everybody? How we doing today? It is time for a new random rant with a guest. I have imported a new guest from Germany.
Yeah.
We do have import here. Hello, import. How are you?
Yo. What's up, fam?
How I'm ready to get angry,
Ugh.
just because everyone knows at least
I've
here.
been blocking this out of my mind for the entire week.
Dude, it's been the other way around for me. I've been more trying to figure out ways to work with it, but yeah, it's been a thing. But yeah, so before we get into our topic, because I'm gonna probably put this on YouTube, for anyone that doesn't know you, import, can you please give yourself a brief
Good
introduction?
grief. Hi, I'm the most hated Trackmania
Trackmania.
community person for whatever reason. Hi, no, my name's Aaron. I'm import. I'm from Evo, chief financial officer of Evo Esports. Also a Trackmania host, caster, and event organizer. You may have heard of an event called XP Evo. It's going to be the largest Trackmania LAN event this year. I don't need a source for that because I already know that our event was second largest last year, and since there's no Ascension this year, it is going to be the largest this year. So suck it. But outside of that, yeah, that's pretty much it. And I love Trackmania. That's it. All right.
Yeah, no. So welcome to the channel. Love to have you here. I've been on your podcast, and that was
Yes.
a lot of fun. Honestly, it went a lot better than I expected it to be. Part of me
I think you were
was
the last guest on our podcast, even.
yeah, and then you guys took a break. I don't know if you've started it again.
Took
or
a
not.
break and then I quit the podcast.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, you quit it. Yeah, I remember seeing that now. But yeah, we had some good chats. I think that was off of my first random rant. I think it was the first time where I lost my shit
right.
and put a YouTube video up, and from from there, it got me on your podcast, and now you're on my channel. Now we're constantly conversating. We went from like, "Fuck you, who's this guy?" Fuck this, to like straight out like good friends. And we're constantly
maybe he's not
DMing.
as bad as I originally thought. Oh, maybe I should like talk with this guy.
Yeah, both. I think we both like had that kind of feeling for each other. And now it ended up with us just like becoming
It's a
good
beautiful
friends.
marriage now.
It really is, dude. It really is. Because I'm excited for XP Evo. I'm trying to get my ass out there. One way or another, I'm getting my ass out there because I need it. I need it in my life. I need a LAN.
I get it.
And I have not been to one outside of America. I don't count Montreal because it's North America. But I personally have not been able to go to a gaming competition outside of America. I've been out of America, but not like
It's a different vibe too. Like,
Yeah.
it's like I recommend if you're from Europe, you should go to a competition in NA, and then if you're from NA, you should go to a competition in Europe because it's just a completely different vibe.
yeah.
So
I want to go to an RLCS event out in Europe just because the chants are. It's so different. Like Europe does it right. Let's just put it that way. When it comes to chanting and getting excited, Europe does it right. But yeah, so we already have people in the chat, a lot of people in the chat. So we're gonna start talking. If you have any questions or you want to put in your 2 cents or something, feel free to. Because chat's on the screen. So anything you guys need to say, I believe you're in this. Yeah,
I'm watching.
You're
the
watching.
stream,
Yeah, so
I
you'll
can
see it. So let's get to the topic. I hate this word, first of all. The homologated tournaments.
No. Can we ban this word?
Yeah,
Can we ban this word?
Okay, so there's, I guess we can call it like locker room chat when like guys say things that are just kind of messed up. So if I switch to those words accidentally, first of all, Andro, editor, please make sure to cut those out. And if I say it, I'm going to have to take down the VOD very fast. But anyway, yeah, so World Tour 2024 has been officially announced. And worst timing ever, worst wording ever, worst rules ever. I mean, where do we start with this? So, for example, if I remember correctly, you were going to try to get Evo XP Evo homologated, right? Thinking about it, thinking
I'm
about it.
sorry. I just you even saying the word just makes me want to laugh.
I have
This
to
is
like
the
stop
stupidest.
every time I
It is
say it.
stupid. The stupidest word. Leave it to French people, bro. Leave it to Europeans in general to come up with an old, dead English jargon word that nobody uses, and then make it like it's the smartest thing they've ever said on the planet.
Yeah,
First
yeah,
off, that's anyways. Um, I think the better thing to start off with is like how we even got here to this
yeah,
point. Because me and you have more insight of kind of, and when I say insight, it's not like the most like revealing insight ever, but we kind of have an idea of how things panned out because we were trying to be one of the groups to potentially run a circuit
yeah.
for Trackmania Esports. Not that we wanted to be the first pick, which I think many people misunderstand. People think that we made this like Trackmania hosting collaboration council thing because we wanted to be the premier esports Trackmania thing. It's like, no, we were doing this because there was no other options.
Right.
And we were like, we wanted to be the last resort. Like, we didn't want to be the first idea. So in essence, props to tournament and them for making a circuit and finally coming up with a solution. Just the way they went about it is what we're going to get into as to why we disagree with it so much.
Yeah, which funny enough, real fast import. I'm technically, I don't know if I still have the status, but I'm technically a tournament partner.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I used to run tournaments off of Tournament, the website, and
Oh, okay.
I got partner status, but I got locked out of that account, and I have no idea how to get back into it. I've been trying to get back. I don't even know what email I used on it. So like now it's like technically I have the status. I don't know if I still have it on that account, but yeah. So like for me, tournament being the one involved was kind of like, okay, cool. Like I know tournament, another French company, so kind of made sense. But yeah. So continue what you were saying. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. But that's interesting that you have that correlation though.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when NADEO made their announcement that they weren't going to be doing esports, a group of organizers the Trackmania hosting collaboration Discord already existed before any of this really happened. But there was a common goal amongst the main organizers of major events like Gamers Assembly, us at XP Evo. We also have Beacon League. I
Yep.
call it Bacon League all the
Bacon
time.
League. Yep.
Yeah, Bacon League and EMC, others that were interested and tried to make sure that we collaborate with each other so that there's no overlap, no conflicts of interest, anything like that, but also like promote a healthy esports scene, regardless of whether there is or is not a Trackmania esports scene in the mix. And so the announcement came out, and then we decided, hey, maybe we should look together, have a meeting, come together, and see if there's an opportunity. Actually, it didn't even happen that way. It was SRK. SRK decided. I remember now. SRK was the one who was like, "Hey, this is what's happening. There's multiple opportunities where it's either a third party or there's going to be no esports for next year." And he's like, "I've been given the opportunity." He gave us the initial impression and told us specifically that NADEO was giving the community an opportunity to pitch a league circuit to them and an idea for a circuit that the community could host and hold, which we did. We had a meeting, we formed a council, we did all this stuff. We tried to remain as transparent as possible.
I don't know if it was exactly that. It was more of SRK had an idea that he wanted to pitch, and that's what started the first meeting, which then turned into this seems like it's bigger than we thought it was going to be, so maybe we should start a council or something like that. It literally, like, I think that's how, I don't know.
He did specifically say that NADEO wanted a proposal from the community,
Oh,
from
okay.
him and the community.
I missed that part.
So yeah, we formed this council under the false assumption that we were going to form a council. NADEO was aware of this and that we were going to form a circuit. That is the way SRK pitched it to us. Come to find out, when World Cup is happening and SRK's pitching this idea, I'm getting DMs from certain people from different orgs, as in like big and whatnot, being like, what the heck is going on? I've heard your name dropped. I've heard that there's a circuit happening, and we're all wondering what the heck this is, what the heck
Yeah.
SRK is talking about. It turned into a hot mess, essentially, where there was misleading information from the very get-go
Yeah.
for even forming the council in the very beginning, and it was a hot mess. It threw my name under the bus. It threw a bunch of other organizers' name on the bus. I had multiple people call. I have screenshots of people calling me incompetent from it, and I'm just like, all I did was say, sure, let's I explored the idea of a circuit, but it happened. But yeah, so we kind of go quiet, and I'm during this time when things are going haywire. I try to message Tona, I try to message Nadeo, and I'm like, hey, what the heck is going on? Like, we were under the impression that you guys wanted something from us, like an idea or whatever. And they like, yeah, send us a proposal, send us an email, and then we'll talk about it. So we send them an email, we invite them to a call, NADEO specifically. The council sent an email to NADEO specifically requesting like a call to discuss an idea. NADEO was like, let's hold off till the next year. We'll come back and then we'll have a meeting. Next year comes on, NADEO sends us an email saying, hey, we're going to wait. We have an idea in place, potentially just wait till March and then we'll get back with you and we'll have more information. We're like, okay. In the meanwhile, another individual from the council, Bobby, was making his own circuit called Global Racing Series, which was a circuit basically in case a circuit didn't happen. And that was pretty much almost ready to go. And then end of March came, NADEO announced their circuit, and that's it. There was no information between that. We were just kind of told, wait, and then here's the information. There was multiple promises of like, hey, we're going to give you more information. We're going to talk to you guys about what's going to be happening. And that just never happened. And now we're here.
Yeah.
Hopefully I recounted that all correctly, but I'm pretty sure I did.
Yeah, so. it's pretty spot on. Yeah, and I think one of the biggest misconceptions and things that we need to kind of clarify, or at least information I was able to dig out, I think what ended up causing a lot of these miscommunications is the fact that NADEO is now officially out of the esport. They do not want to be involved in it. They don't want to be a part of it. They're out. The teams that are currently focused on the esport is Ubisoft Esports, yay, and Tournament. So pretty much, I think what could have happened, speculating from the outside, is on the transfer from NADEO saying, here you go, Ubisoft Esports, and here you go, Tournament, a lot of miscommunication started to fall through. NADEO already has a pretty crappy reputation about communicating in general, so I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't really communicate well with what's going on in general. And I think that is probably what caused, one, the announcement to go out much later, because we were actually given a soft date of when the announcement was supposed to come out. Ironically, the soft date was the Trackmania EE thing.
Oh yeah. The
NASCAR thing. Formula E. That's I'm like NASCAR.
And I was like,
E,
is this the announcement? I'm like, this isn't the announcement.
Yeah, no, funny, and yeah, that's like the thing was like that announcement. We were teased in that email that it was supposed to be the World Tour announcement. So something maybe NADEO said, out of the way. We want this to be announced first because this is a bigger partner, because they're literally partnering with Formula One for this, and then you World Tour people can make your announcement later. Like, I'm guessing it was somewhere in that line, which is relatively, it's frustrating. It's very frustrating that we were kind of again knocked over to the side, and because I get it, esports is a big marketing tool. Hylas has already made it very freaking clear that he hates people making money off of his game. Still think it's the dumbest thing in the world, because as we all know, if we're making money off the game, that means the game is thriving, which means he'll make more money. But what do we know? We don't reinvent the wheel every time we're making something new, you know?
No, he said specific. They said in one of their videos specifically they encourage their team to reinvent the wheel. Even if the wheel isn't broken, they still try to reinvent the wheel.
Next wheel is going to be a box, guys. It's going to be a
Right.
lot of fun. And then after
Yeah.
that, let's make it a triangle because
And
that
then a
also
hexagon.
works. And then a hexagon. Don't worry,
And then
guys.
we end
It'll
up with
work
a
smoothly.
circle at the end of it all, anyways. 'cause
But
we
it's
realized it
going
was
to
the
be
most-
slightly off. The radius is going to be a little longer on one end than the other. And then it will be a lot more fun because it'll create randomness for the players to enjoy. Yeah. Oh, sorry. I should be doing that in a French accent. We're going to reinvent the wheel. We're going to get banned from
I'm gonna
Trackmania.
get banned from Europe.
We're getting banned from so many things at one time. But so I think that is what's causing a lot of these problems. Now, again, did a little bit of digging, and I know one of the big questions was why is it, and I'm clarifying right now, I'm not saying 1v1v1v1. I hate that. 4-way free-for-all. It's so much easier. So why is it 4-way free-for-all over 2v2? Again, from a little bit of digging around, asking some questions, not putting any names in, and don't speculate, chat. Because I did speak to multiple people. It was not just one person. From what my understanding is that one, tournament actually did not know how accessible the 2v2 game mode is, because I don't think they even looked through the comp tool. And two, it's not readily available in the game. So that is part of the reason why it's switched back to 4-way free-for-all, because that is technically readily available in the game. The idea is that they want the community to get really involved, so they want to be able to set it up in a way where you don't need to have the fancy servers. You don't even need to use comp tool. You can literally just use tournament and club rooms, and that's what I believe is why they decided to go to the.
It is the
4-way
most
free-for-all.
simplest format. So
It is. It's very
makes
simple.
sense.
My biggest argument when it comes to the homologated tournaments is why the fuck are we so constricted on anything we do? Why does it need to be, when it's top 64 players, it has to be single or double elimination? Nothing else. I swear to God, if you try to change it, even the slightest bit, you're out. Like, come on, man. There have been so many good formats out there. There have been so many good ways. Like, technically, XP Evo, if I remember last year, did it in regulation of homologation. You guys did rounds. You did waves of rounds on Friday, and then I don't remember if it was Friday night or just Saturday morning, you just instantly went into double elimination, correct?
yeah, so it was qualifications for top 128, and then 128 was single elimination. So it was just one round of single elimination, and then top 64 was double elimination. So
Ironically, right there, XP Evo is doing it right. Like, they've already, from last year, you guys have already done it exactly how a homologation tournament should be done. Now,
100% to their format requirements, by the way.
yeah, like literally
100%.
perfect. Like that.
256 max player tournaments.
Yep.
That goes to 128, that goes to top 64, and so on. It was perfect format for XP Evo and their circuit.
Yeah, so if you are actually a TO who is watching this at some point this year, and you want to become a homologated tournament, literally go on Liquipedia, look up XP Evo, look at how their bracket was done, and that's basically one good example on how you want, if you want to host one of those tournaments. Now, it doesn't need to be a LAN. It can also be done online. And from what I've read in the rulebook, it doesn't need to be in one day. It could be broken up. So as long as the format follows what it wants to be. And that's one of my biggest problems, because of the fact that what if we wanted to do something along the lines of the top 16 or even top 32, we do a Swiss bracket. What's the problem of doing a Swiss bracket, in my opinion? And the other problem is what's the problem of doing more than 4 people in one match? I don't know what your thoughts on that are. If we were to like do 6 people or 8 people in one match, especially in the lower bracket, you can fly through that lower bracket by just sticking more people in one match.
That one, so just from purely a broadcasting standpoint, anything more than 4 is really annoying.
Oh yeah, no, I know. I agree.
So I personally would never want a
Yeah.
6 to 8 man thing. Although to be fair, it's like when you have qualifier days at a LAN, like it's going to be like 32 people in a single lobby, and you're just kind of praying that you can kind of catch on one player and see what they're doing. But yeah, I mean, outside of that, yeah, 6 to 8. Why does it have to be 4? It's kind of dumb. I agree. And like you brought up a point about how they wanted it to be readily available in the game. I mean, I'm surprised they didn't just pick up the 3v3 matchmaking, since that's a matchmaking mode that's readily available in the game at that point.
Yeah.
Because that's something that's readily available. It was curious how they came to the idea of just doing track of the day style almost. Like,
oh yeah. I'm actually surprised that's not even a thing. Like, why couldn't you
I'm
do
surprised
that?
they just did. I'm surprised they just didn't do track of the day stuff. It's like we're gonna run an entire circuit based off track of the day.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
and just to clarify, there's a question in the chat. Wouldn't that be more rounds mode if we were saying 6 or 8 people? My point is, once you're past the 6, so like you're allowed to do rounds in time attack before the top 64, but once you're in top 64, it must be a 4-way free for all. Period. Like nothing else, and it can either be single or double elimination. You can't you can't alter it at all, from one of my understandings. Now, I will say one of the things that is making me somewhat happy is that I've been communicating with our point man for tournament, since they're the main people, and they seem to be willing to bend and flex at points, but not now. It's like, if I wanted to host a homologated tournament now, I have to follow the rule book, point by point. But if they start to see things are kind of, it's not really working out that way, they may alter it towards the end of the season. But it's like, at that point, I'm done. Like, I'm out. Like, so like, what the like, this is one of my biggest gripes, is don't change anything mid fucking tournament or mid circuit or mid whatever. That drives me insane when people start changing things.
The thing that drives me nuts more than anything else is, like, you're starting off a tournament circuit at the first of the year, and I think if you really want the community behind your back, you would have the brain cells to understand. Sorry, I'm going to be harsh in this.
No, go ahead.
Have the
please.
brain cells to understand that maybe we shouldn't do anything rule changing or landscape changing, and maybe we should go ahead and support the community events that already exist in place, prop those up, and then insert our own events on top of that. You could have a 2v2 and a free-for-all format together in the same circuit and provide points. You would just have to scale it differently. And all you have to do is just play a couple little numbers. It may take only 1 to 2 hours to kind of figure out that system, and it may take a little bit more extra work, but outside of that, it's really not that difficult. And
I mean,
it's not even insane.
It's not even that difficult, because if like they already have everything laid out for us, especially point system wise. Like, everything's laid out on, like what makes a major, what makes a grand, what makes I forgot the third tier already. But like what makes these 3 tiers, and it has to do with the amount of participants that are there playing. And that is another thing to be clear. It's based on participants, not signups. So you can have 64 people sign up and be a major, but if even one is missing, kaput.
Right.
Like, it's ridiculous. And like,
you're not a major. It's like,
yeah, and like that's one of those things too that drive me insane when it comes to like regionals. Like, if we were trying to host a regional and we drop under 64, does that whole tournament just mean dog poopy? Fuck it. It doesn't mean shit. Like are we out? Is that it? We're done. Like, we're hosting this.
What does that mean for events
reason.
like Arctic Gaming Experience, who's coming back this year? They would be considered a major in terms of Trackmania standards because of how much money they're throwing at their invited players, but they're not going to be according to these rules.
Yeah, no, it's, and like, I would understand if they had it written somewhere. Speaking of writing things down, I would understand if it was written somewhere saying, this can be changed on a case by case. then it's like cool. All right, they're willing to.
Yeah.
They've publicly said that we're willing to bend and flex where we need to. But speaking of fucking writing, because I'm going to change the topic for a hot second. Import. Have you read both the player book as well as the homologated book?
I actually haven't, and the reason why is because knowing French writing skills, it's a disaster.
So
already. I don't need to read it.
it's not even it's not even the French writing skills. These guys did not communicate because one of them was written by Ubisoft Esports. The other one was written by Tournament, and they don't match. And that drives me fucking insane. And even in the homologated, they had word errors where like one is called a major, and then all of a sudden, 3 pages later, they say a regional, and we're like, is it a major or is it a regional? What is it? And for that one, I can understand the mistake because basically in the rule book it says to be a regional major, you have to have 64 people in your region available to play. But the point system is based off grand points. And that's what I meant.
You know why there's a massive discrepancy, right? It's super like clear as day. The issue is that like unfortunately for tournaments, it really confuses me how tournament got involved because it's clear that they don't understand the esport that they just got themselves involved with, let alone the developer they just got themselves involved with. And I applaud them for attempting this and like attempting to bring in some life back into this esport. And maybe somebody reached out to tournament was like, hey, this esport's like struggling right now and there's like a major opportunity for in a market for somebody like you to come in and change the landscape. Maybe that's kind of how it was. But it was clear they didn't do their research. It's clear that it was kind of just thrown together. I mean, timeline from January to March, and boom, we have a circuit. So it's just a hot mess. And like, so having the rule books not make sense to each other. You have a rule book that says regionals, and I'm assuming that's probably from the NADEO side because NADEO is familiar with their esports scene and they're just kind of basing the rules off of World Tour that they had last year and just kind of editing it for this circuit. And then you have tournament coming in with no idea of what's happened in the previous years, and it's very clear on that fact. And so you got them coming up with major and clashes of wording and phrasing, and yeah, it's not surprising to me at all that this is happening, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's just I don't know, man.
Can I have my moment though, real quick?
Go
I need
for
to have
it.
my moment.
Let's get that moment going.
So this circuit has some goals, right? It's to get homologated events. Hate that word. Homologated events into their circuit. Mm-hmm. And they're trying to loop these other events into the circuit. A lot of these events don't fit their format, but certain event organizers are willing to fit into this format. And then you have the largest event that is going to be happening this year that fits their format to the T. And just because it is ever so slightly a month out of their regular season, it is not in the circuit.
Yeah.
An event that would be probably a capstone event for them and like would promote a actual success of the community coming behind them and backing their event. It's not included in the circuit because it's outside of their set time frame of their season. It clashes with that time frame, and that time frame was set by Ubisoft apparently, that they could only have it from March to September. And that World Cup is supposed to be at the end of October, first week of November timeframe. There's speculation that it's going to happen during Paris Games Week, and Paris Games Week is on the first week of November. So they have to have playoffs and World Cup. And it's like, there's so many things that you could still do to include our event, XP Evo, and we would be willing to negotiate and work with them to try to include it, where they have the biggest community spotlight for the circuit, and you could make it okay. So the regular season's over. Have a last chance event at our major those who play in our events have an opportunity to get a last chance spot into the playoffs. Like it's that simple to integrate it. It's really not that hard.
No.
But at the same time, it's like they just didn't think about it. Do I sound salty about not being included? Maybe from the outside, but honestly, I'm very happy that we're not involved because it's not, the circuit is not in the spirit of how I would have imagined, or I think many of us would imagine a circuit for Trackmania would have been. It would have been one of two things. It would have been just a straight up Trackmania World Tour format, 2v2, just run it back, let's do it again, whatever, make improvements. The other option would have been to include the community events that are currently happening, whether it's 2v2 or free for all, include them into the circuit and run a circuit. But like, they didn't do that, so that's what they get. And the interesting thing is, and there was some information that we just got, because Ariman, who is the representative of tournament, is at Gamers Assembly right now, which is an event happening currently at this moment in France, in Poitiers. And so this is John, who's one of the head guys or the major factors of running Gamers Assembly for Trackmania. He said this was his discussion at Gamers Assembly. He said the circuit was proposed by Tournament third week of January to NADEO. Format was designed by Tournament and NADEO. Due to legal stuff, the announcement has been done quite late. Tournament had the goal to announce it originally begin in March. I'm sorry, I'm trying to translate French English to regular English.
Yeah, no, you're good.
SRK was approached by Tournament 10 days before the announcement and was advised by NADEO, was basically recommended by NADEO. I guess there were other names that were shared by NADEO, but there was no proper list of names who have been recommended to them. But SRK was not involved with the design of the circuit. They are not close to suggestions, even if they can't decide everything without an approval by NADEO or Ubisoft, I guess, in this case.
Yep.
I told them, and then we, or at least John, basically told them that it's going to be difficult to convince a lot of orgs to create tournaments for the circuit with current constraints and interests. And yeah, I think they're right at this point. And apparently tournaments saying that they're confident that they're going to be able to get events to join into their circuit. And as far as online events, I'm sure that probably there'll be a couple online events here or there that'll hop in and join the circuit. But as far as LANs are concerned, they're a little too late on that one. I really think the only LAN, like proper larger LAN that could actually be a part of their circuit would be Comic-Con Baltics. And I have a feeling that SRK would try to force Comic-Con Baltics to be a part of that circuit and mold it to that. And then maybe DreamHack in Stockholm. I think it's in Stockholm. Or Jönköping or wherever the heck it's at.
Yeah, it's close enough to it.
But yeah, so I think those two events you might see, but outside of that, any other of the larger events, I think a lot of the French events don't really fit that format. They may try, but you might see one or two events. But honestly, I think as far as the major like events that were planned as LANs for this year are likely not going to be in the circuit, and it's due to just poor timing on their part and poor communication and lack of flexibility.
Yeah.
So
I think one of the things that I haven't officially announced this live yet, but so the LAN that originally I was planning to host in Texas in June is no more. Unfortunately, things fell through. A lot of I know, a lot of problems came up, and it was just adding on to the point where it was too much. But I will say we are moving it to 2025, so you can still hold me accountable for it. But one of the things that would have concerned me is the fact that we would want to have a major in NA, to have a regional major, which would be great. But the downside of that is I would have had to change my entire tournament because it was originally going to be a duo cup. Yep. So again, the whole 2v2 thing being knocked out is just, in my opinion, ridiculous, because one of the reasons why it was really good to switch to 2v2 is that it gave more reason for orgs to be involved. And what I don't get how it feels like NADEO doesn't understand it and Ubisoft is not enforcing it, seeing that Ubisoft has other esports with other orgs, big names as well, is that it grows your game financially as well of just publicity, because when you can give a home to a player where they can be paid to play your game. Sure, I get it. Hylas doesn't like people making money off of their game, but technically when you're signed to an org, you're not making money off the game. You're making money playing your game from an outside source that was originally never going to go to Hylas's pocket anyway. But it allows these people to stay focused on your game longer. It allows them to constantly broadcast your game on many live stream platforms, create content around the game, constantly grow the interest of the game, and then it allows these players to show up to these events. If like when the announcement went out, I don't know if you saw, but even Alliance tweeted out at the announcement.
They were like, bruh.
It's okay. Yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay. And like, I was laughing when I saw that because I was like, dude, like, slight communication from anyone, Ubisoft, from NADEO, from Tournament. I can't even put SRK's name in there because he probably didn't even know what he was going to get involved in until last second. So it was even hard for him to get out there and speak to the orgs. Which ironically, funny enough, I don't remember if you mentioned this one, but when going back to the story real quick of SRK, speaking to people at the World Championships and a lot of miscommunication. Technically, the council was banned from speaking to orgs and players. We were not allowed, and SRK was on the council. So technically, he was also banned. So in reality, NADEO shot their own foot when they were like, yeah, you should have SRK in tournament and have him help you. And then SRK goes, like, sure, I'll help, but I'm banned from speaking to anyone. Like, they shot their own foot doing that. So it was just kind of ironic.
The issue is with like SRK being involved in that, and I will not go into my personal bias against the entire situation, but the issue with it is that many people don't know what transpired. Because we did our best to keep it like low profile to kind of save face for not just us but also SRK as well, because what he did was kind of very stupid, which was essentially mislead a group of people to believe that NADEO was aware of what they were doing, and then present this idea to people who had no idea what was happening, and they were already these teams were full of anxiety and everything, and the players are freaking out. The players are mad. They've been mad since November and they're still mad, and any opportunity or any slip up that you show in front of them, they are going to direct their anger directly towards you. I've had it directed to me multiple times in the last 6 months. To where they're just angry and they're willing to bite the head off of anybody who gets in their way of their career, which I understand from their part because they don't want to be able to lose the opportunities that they've gained thus far from last year. So our foot was shot from the very get-go, right before the end of the year, and that was due to the fact of poor miscommunication from basically who we believed was giving us full correct information, and also NADEO at the same time, because NADEO, to be fair to SRK, NADEO was also being super cryptic and confusing as well. And what they were needing. So but we were banned. The last conversation I had with an org was with Big, one of the individuals from there, and they were like, you know what, since you guys we're not supposed to be talking to each other, we're just going to stop. And I was like, yeah, I get it. But it was very frustrating to be like on the firing end. I feel like a lot of council members got like out of it, but because I am who I am and I'm very controversial, I guess, in Trackmania, I got a lot of heat for that situation, despite not really calling any shots there in that regard. So yeah, that was frustrating. So I tried to not talk about it too much, because it's like, if you want to know my real opinions, I have very fiery words and thoughts, but I will keep those back to not. Maybe when I leave, like I'm about to leave Trackmania,
Guns
maybe I'll share
a-blazing.
those.
Guns a-blazing.
Guns a-blazing. I'm gonna go out so messy for right now. Yeah,
Yeah, no, I
hold them
feel
back.
that. I feel that. I mean, yeah, rookie, leave the council, speak with them, and then join the council again. Well, the thing is, the council is more than likely going to close.
Yeah,
There's no point for us.
We didn't do anything, to be fair. Like, if anybody thinks that we were having secret conversations of like, oh my gosh, so we're gonna play World Domination. No, actually, literally after Nadeo told us, hey, wait, we stopped talking to each other. We stopped like really saying anything. So
because there was no point. There was nothing we could do.
No point.
Unfortunately, because we were also left in the dark. Like, it was just one of those moments where it blows my mind that NADEO knew that they wanted to do what they wanted to do. If anything, the council should have been the first one to be brought to light with this, because of the fact that this would have been a perfect opportunity for one. The council is full of TOs. And then we are connected to almost every TO.
It wasn't just a bunch of
world.
nobodies. It was literally a representative from each major event of the year. That's what the council was. It was a representative of each major event. So like we are the stakeholders of your esports for 2024. So talk to us, because we are literally.
I'm not a major.
I mean, you would have been. I think I genuinely think you would have been.
Yeah.
Had the plans gone through.
Yeah.
Because I think you could have attracted at least a decent amount of players to your event, potentially even people from Europe.
Oh, dude, okay, so now that it's not happening, I had Big and ITB blowing up my DMs, and I even had Alliance at a point reaching out to me. I had Alliance also talking to me. Like, there were 3 major orgs that were ready to send their players to my event, but because of NADEO took too long to get my form in. The sponsors were like, we're not going to talk until you can prove that we're allowed to have this event. And then once I got that, then the sponsors were like, we're not going to talk until you have a venue planned, like ready to go. And then the place that we were originally going to have the venue was almost perfectly ready to go. And thanks to a boomer who doesn't know anything about esports goes, hold on. And that took over like 2 months. And then we finally said, screw this. Yeah, because we were going to have this at a university, or I guess a college. And, they had plenty of room, plenty of places for us to host this event and make it look big and major and beautiful.
Yep.
And one boomer on the board, which is like, hold on, I gotta read this. I don't know what gaming, video games is bad for you. So
you're giving me flashbacks of my time at Grand Canyon University. I hope you know that right
now, I know.
I had to deal with that all the time. It was like, what is this, video games? I'm like, don't you want STEM students? They're like, well, yeah. I'm like, what do you think STEM students do in their free time?
What is esports? I've never heard of esports.
Esports. Oh no.
What is this asbestos with sports? Like what? It was like, so that delayed 2 months, and then that ended up pushing us to how now we had to look outside of that area and try to get venues. I had people. I had a company ready to hop on board, but because it was with Damascus Gaming, they really want to focus on El Paso because they are the El Paso esport. Completely understandable. It makes sense for business. It makes sense for PR. So my options were out. So we had to stay in El Paso. But the problem was we were speaking to many people on many different boards, trying to see if they can set us up with a place that we can get for free or for cheap, and it didn't happen. And it was going to end up costing us somewhere around the lines of $15,000 to $20,000 to host this tournament, and we still haven't even had a conversation with the sponsors yet. So it was like,
and you didn't even have PCs lined up yet.
No, we didn't even have PCs lined up, and this all happened this month. Like, we finally had this conversation this month. So like half of March, April, May, June, we were already in like 4 months, and we were supposed to host this LAN. I was like, I'm not half-assing it. I'm not putting things together last second.
It's smart, though.
No, like let's just.
You don't want to.
Now that we already know the pain of what it's going to be like to try to run this LAN, let's move it back. We already have a location potentially happening. I just need to send another form into NADEO. It's gonna.
They're supposed to. Okay, so the forms. I don't even have my form yet for XP Evo yet, because all the tournaments basically were told that they need to wait till the end of March, which is now this time.
Yeah.
And I need to remind Tona again, but essentially they were doing a new system. So now with the new system that they have for the tournament licenses, you should be able to get them done almost within less than a week.
Instantaneously. Yeah.
Yeah.
So hopefully that's true, because I know what my biggest concern is, because of the home legation tournaments. I feel like it's going to be so much longer because they're going to be looking through all those forms. Now, I don't know if NADEO is going to look at them, if Ubisoft esports team will, if tournament will look at them, if all three of them have to look at them. Like, I don't know. And that's what makes me worried even about this. I'm going to throw this on your screen, folks, for like the homologation, like, set up, like, you know, what we can do to be a homologated tournament. Because, like, for example, if 2025 follows the same rules and I'm gonna host my LAN and I decide not to do Duo Cup and just to do a homologated tournament, like, I have to go through like all of this just to be able to host a tournament. And it's, I don't know, dude. I and like, even this, like, the countries, like, why is MEA, Asia, and Oceania plugged in together, and their timelines are fucking nowhere near each other?
You know what? If they come back next year, my first and foremost act as a member of this community is going to be wringing them by their necks and telling them, get rid of this word homologated. Anyways, I literally, you show this document and I saw the word like 6 times already in one page, and I'm just like, bro, why? Okay.
Just homologate without the E is 164 times in the bracket in this. You guys can't see it in the chat, or you can't see it on your screen.
163 times?
164 times if I stop at GAT. If I add the E, it goes to 100. Homologation.
Listen,
yeah,
like, it's like, we get it. You learned a new word in the English dictionary, but like, is it necessary?
164 times said it.
Honestly, I think if you were to actually go into it and read every single sentence, they're probably not even using the word correctly.
More than likely,
because the definition of the word is like an approved or an accepted something.
Yeah.
But
so,
like,
here's something that's interesting. How are your thoughts on this? The fact that you can host an online or a LAN version and it's the same points.
I think that's stupid. I think LANs should always have priority and points over online events. Sorry, not sorry. Like, I understand that some LANs are not acceptable, but that is the point of LANs. You want to have more LANs because that is your ground advertisements to the general public.
Yeah.
Because Joe Schmo is going to walk by your LAN events and they're going to be like, huh, I see people playing a racing game and they seem to be having fun. What's this about? Like, it may not bring in thousands of people in, but it's still, that one person may be a CEO of a very important company and they may want to invest in your game. So it's always important to have events on the ground. Yeah. Having them online, you put yourself in a bubble, which this community is already in a massive fishbowl. So like, when you stick to the fishbowl, nothing happens.
Yeah. And the fact that we're only able to get these applications in by the end of April is also terrifying, because let's say right now I don't have money, but because this tournament goes all the way to October, and let's say April into May, I now have time and I have money and I know my schedule better and I want to apply to have a homologated tournament. I can't. I'm out. You know, so like, it's ridiculous. I love how they give us the approval decisions, and one of the things that blew my mind is I also found out that speaking of Joe Schmo was originally going to have a LAN in his house. He was inviting a bunch of friends over and he was going to have a LAN at his house, and they applied for homologation, and the only reason why they got denied is because it was too soon. Can you imagine that? Like, in reality, if I really wanted to, I mean, I got a small little apartment, ain't gonna fit enough people, but if I really wanted to, I can host where is it? I can host.
Is this you trying to get me on my statement of every LAN should have more points?
No, I'm just saying. So if in reality, if I can have 16 people show up to my apartment in, let's say, May, and then I apply my little LAN party for fun, I can, in fact, just have friends over. I can invite the worst people in the world. I can invite 16 people who have never played this game in their life and then tell Neil to come over because he lives in Jersey like me. I could tell Neil to come over, apply for this, have 16 people, get accepted, and I can award Neil. Where is it? There's a point system here. Where's the point system? Okay.
Bro, at that point, just make a bunch of bots and then just have the player that you want to make it to the World Cup or playoffs or whatever. Just have one player, put 63 bots on there, and then award them major points.
Yeah, but this is my thing. Like, I can just have a small little LAN in my house, invite a bunch of people that don't know the game. Just tell them, listen, just play. I'll give everyone $10 to show up and just play a game you've never played. Tell Neil to come over and get him and award him 500 points, like that. And from what I understand, there's only going to be one regional major per region allowed, whether it's hosted by NADEO or Ubisoft or whoever the fuck it is, or someone like me who decides to host one. But from what I understand, there is no limit to Grand and Challenger. So if I got accepted to host 3 Challenger LANs and have the same people show up every single time, I can get Neil 1,500 points, which is better than 1 Grand tournament. I'm just saying, there are some stupid loopholes in this. And the fact that even that I got the notice that you can just host a LAN in your house and get points for it, just
yeah. Well, it's like I think they're not even very. I wonder if they even knew it was at his house. Like, I don't.
Yeah,
think
they knew. You have to put it. You have to put it in it. The only reason why
I mean, they just have to put a venue address though. They don't have.
Yeah, which is his house. You can Google it.
But they probably didn't even. The thing is, they probably didn't verify the address. They're just like, oh, it's an address. Okay, here, boom.
No, like, I don't know. Like I said, as long as it follows the bullet points that you need to follow to be allowed to be, like, to be allowed to create one, which apparently this person did. It doesn't matter if it's at a house. Like I'm so tempted. Again, I'm so tempted to just ask my friend to apply for one, get accepted, have 16 friends show up, and then I can just farm points.
Yeah.
Because it's that simple.
I mean, nothing's Ricky asked if they did that with that case, what stops them from doing it with that other case? The point is that it doesn't stop them from any other case.
It does.
Yeah. It doesn't stop. And like I said, you like in online events, just have a bunch of bots. Put Neil in your events, a 64 event, make it a major. 63 bots there, and just make sure their accounts are signed up and everything on the tournament website, and then just pretend like the bracket's running, and then just Neil happens to win, and there you go. Like, it's. I mean, obviously, I think that would be caught, but you get what I mean. It's like the rule, for as strict as the rules are, there's so many loopholes. It's kind of insane how many loopholes there are.
Let me get second to Neil. We are getting Bolsonaro.
Oh
no, Ave. No, Ave. Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Okay, so just so you understand import. So a lot of us started playing FIFA, and Manox named his character that. And he's just like a 6'7" striker who just literally hits, like, everyone crosses the ball and he just hits the ball with his head. And, like, if the ball's ever at his feet, he loses the ball. But if we kick it across, he just headbutts it in every time.
Is there actually, that is a good question. Is there any requirements to have a VOD or broadcast for these events?
If I understand, yes, technically there is. Let's look at the application form real quick.
I mean, it probably asks where it's going to be streamed, and that's probably
what is your full name? What is the name of your organization? What is the name of the tournament? What is the email? What are the dates? Is it online, offline? If your tournament is offline, what is the exact location? This is where he could put his address. How many players will participate in your tournament? I don't fucking know.
That's a real stupid question.
Like how many people do you plan to have in your tournament?
How many people do you expect or plan to attend your events would be like a better question. Or what is the maximum number of players to attend your events?
Well, a certain number of players slots be available by invitation, and if so, how many? So this is an interesting point. We're only allowed to have 10% of the max participants as invited. So, for example, if you're hosting a tournament for 60 people, only 6 people are allowed to be invited. But the problem is, again, it's based off the participant rule, not the sign up. So if for any reason 59 people show up, I have to instantly kick someone off the invitation list and then put them in the bracket. I would have to change the entire bracket as soon as the game starts. The only event that would ever
come close to that even would be like AGE or us. And even then, like I'm looking back at how many people we invited, and I think we gave out like 30 VIPs, which was over what our event maximum number would have been. So that doesn't make much sense.
Describe your tournament match formats for each of the stages and add the link to your... literally... You told me what to do. Fuck you. Like I really want to submit this right now. Because, like, what do you mean describe your match formats? We have to follow what you told us to do. What am I going to say? We're doing rounds, qualifiers. Like, that's the only difference.
Why do they care how your qualifier... That's something that's really bizarre to me, is how much they care about how your qualifiers are handled. Isn't that bizarre? They're like, it has to be rounds. It has to be time attack.
So if I remember correctly, HC Enlightenment, thank you very much for the 7-month resub. Appreciate that. Sorry for breaking it, but thank you so much. Yeah, so one of the things that... Oh, fuck. I just lost train of thought because of that sub. Thank you again, HD. But yeah, what was I going to say?
We're talking about the qualifier.
Oh, yeah. So, like, here's one of the things, if I remember correctly, I didn't see in the rulebook that there necessarily has to be a qualifier. It just says if you are having qualifier rounds.
Yeah,
so
correct.
The reality
it says if you have a qualifier.
If I understand correctly, the reality is I could do my own seeding.
Correct. That is correct. In fact, that was a point that Ken brought up that, or somebody brought up, I think, that how is seeding to be determined? Because you may have players who are really high up in points in the circuit, and like, are you going to screw them over reseeding? Like, because there's no rules or stipulations on how the players are to be seeded. Like, do they just assume that the tournament organizer likes everybody and like is going to put everybody in a fair seat? I mean, I would, even if they hate me, but like, not everybody's like...
Sorry, I saw that. I was like, poop. Oh, look at this. It's asking if you're going to. So technically, no. I don't think you need to live stream it.
Oh, and the thing is, it's like, you don't have to, and it's all it cares about is what language it's in.
Yeah. So, like, the reality is, I don't even think you need to stream it. So, again, we could just have a bunch of bots.
Honestly, in every answer, just put French, and then they might accept it. Just put France or French in every answer, and then they're like, oui, oui, a French tournament, oui.
Wait, where's the...
Some guy's gonna find the VOD of this this podcast. You're gonna know it's you. Yeah, click send on that form. You won't.
I don't know. This is how serious people.
So
like, mind you, you guys have to understand. Import's one of the biggest TOs out there, and I am among the elites of NCSA TOs out there, and this is how serious we are taking this fucking event. Hylas is going to take my kneecaps. I would love to see that old man try to even swing at me. That guy would swing at me and fall on his own face. I'd be in another room and he would fucking think I'm right in front of him. But yeah, so look, I don't want to go too long with this because I feel like we have ranted in so many different directions.
I mean, let's try to focus on like what can the community do, what we can do, what is what. I think the biggest thing is for every person who is considering running an event or wanting to be part of the circuit or playing in the circuit or whatever, understand like it is your choice, and whether you choose to be a part of the circuit or not, like nobody's going to judge you because you should do what you feel is best for you. I would say for if you're an organizer, right, you should very carefully consider being a part of a circuit like this. I'm not going to tell you not to be a part of a circuit because I think a circuit like this is very beneficial for smaller organizers. I think it's beneficial for smaller events. I think it's a really good way to get potentially more groundwork in smaller sects of the community that may not have had access to this beforehand.
That or I will jump in and say I agree. It's better for the smaller people, so it helps you really grow your popularity in a way, so that people know like this is how I run my tournaments. You can get more trust. People want to get involved with it. The other thing is, it would also be really good that if your tournament is already in line with it, you might as well send it in and support and help the players that are competing in your tournament, because this will also allow them to really push towards going to the World Championship. So if you are hosting a tournament and you are following the criteria of anything that has to do with qualifying into a top 64 that is a double or single elimination, send it in. You might as well, because worst comes to worst, you get a no and you just continue hosting a tournament the way you were planning to. Continue. Sorry, import.
Yeah, no. I mean, you basically stated it. It's like if you feel like it's gonna benefit you, then do it.
Which, by the way, reminder for people: you don't get anything from them. Just letting you know, they're not going to financially support you or help you or any way of the factor. You could ask. You can maybe ask Ubisoft or ask NADEO if they could potentially sponsor it. I know in the past they have helped. Where's my camera? Helped.
NADEO has helped community events, yes. And if you are an event that NADEO deems a worthy community event, and honestly, I wouldn't say it's that hard to be deemed that per se. I think if you're a real community event, there's a benefit towards the community, NADEO will 100% back you and your events. They backed our events in the past, and I hope and believe that they will help our event again this year, because they did give us money towards our prize pool and merchandise to hand out to people during our event. So, and I'm hoping they'll do again. We'll find out. But NADEO is willing to help out community events. I think if you're a major event, I really don't think this is worth your time. Like when I say like XP Evo was an event that was built for the circuit, I'm not over exaggerating. I'm not saying it because I want to be in the circuit. It's just the circuit would have been perfect for our event because we literally fit every single thing to the T. The only thing which we didn't touch on was their weird sponsorship and branding guidelines that they had for events, where basically like you can have branding on car skins and everything. That would have been a major issue, and that we would have definitely had to like negotiate with them and tell them, hey, like this isn't gonna happen. Like we have to have sponsorship. Like for major lands, sponsorship and branding is a massive thing that you cannot just simply forego on.
And 100%, because that's where a lot of the money comes from.
Yeah,
a lot.
So it's kind of one of those things where it's like meh. But yeah, if you're a smaller event or you're like a mid event online, especially, like I think the circuit fits perfectly for what you may want to achieve. If you're a LAN, I don't think necessarily it's the case unless you're just running a very basic LAN. Then yeah, maybe it fits what you need. But I think had this been, I think the circuit would have more weight and this is the point I wanted to touch on because you had said it. You're not getting anything for being part of this circuit, and it's true. I think if we were 5 years into the future and the circuit was solidified and it was considered the top tier like thing to be in, if you want to be in esports for Trekmania, be a different story. That is the perk. You're getting eyes on your events. But in this year, especially in its first year, being at this event has many downsides, especially if you're a solidified event or an event trying to get more eyes on your tournaments. It's really not going to help you in that regard. So if you think putting yourself in the circuit is going to get you more people to attend your event, it's really not. Like, you really have to know your market. You really have to know your player base of who is interested in going to be participating in your event. The reason why I'm able to say Expo Evo, largest event of 2024, is because I know the market. I know who is going to attend, who is said is going to attend, and I know how the event went last year, despite its flaws and many flaws, but how many people were willing that have said and guaranteed that they are coming back, and they're already showing that again this year. So I'm able to, like, if you know your market, you're going to be able to figure out it on your own. I don't think you need a circuit to tell you what to do.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, one of the things that does drive me insane about this is that this kind of community style event has been done before in a different game, and in my opinion, done really well. And for anyone that doesn't know, back in the day, there was a thing called the Renegade Cup in Rocket League where they were basically trying to host something along the lines for the little guy, right? The smaller events were basically, if you were a pro, you were just not allowed to play in it. Simple as that. If you were in RLCS or RLRS at the time, you weren't in it. And just so that for anyone that doesn't watch Rocket League or know the history of Rocket League, RLCS is basically TMGL level back when they had it like that, and RLRS is basically TMCL level, right? So basically, those players would not have been allowed to play in these smaller events in the Renegade Cup. And the way they did it when it came to the community style was essentially they announced it and you applied just like you would for homologation tournaments. And if you got accepted, you actually got to run it the way sort of you wanted to run it, with a little bit of guiding and helping hand from the psionic side, right? So for example, when I wanted to apply for it, I would not just say, "Hi, I'm a TO, I want to run it." It's, "Hi, I'm a TO from this region," because by the way, they did it where there was 4 for both NA and EU, because this was also before all the other regions got involved. So there was NA and EU, 4 for each, separate, and they were all regional. And the way it worked out was that you would send in an application saying, "I'm a TO, I want to host it. Here is my format." And basically, if they liked majority of it, they would say, "Hey, just tweak this and that, and you're accepted." So that the fact that there was no player limit. There was no sponsorships getting in the way. They just said, as long as they coincide with our sponsors or don't conflict with our sponsors, it's fine. So you were able to raise your own money. They provided a prize pool for you, or actually, they provided a budget. So if you got accepted, you were given $5,000, and you just basically had to explain how you were going to use this budget. Was it going to be for promotional? Was it going to be for overlays on the stream? Was it going to be to pay your production team? And how much of that was going to go to the prize money? How much of the money are you going to use towards your prize money, like your own money as well? So you just had to set a budgeting plan and then a format. You weren't told exactly how to do it. You were just told you had to make it 3 days long. That was it. So people figured out a way to make it work where it was 3 days long. Some people did double elimination on Friday in groups based on your seeding from past tournaments, into a Swiss round or rounds in more groups on Saturday, to a playoff bracket on Sunday. And it was fun. It was entertaining. Every time we went into a new tournament, it was also a new format. So it was nice it was alive, and there was it wasn't too off of other formats. It just felt more invigorating, and the changes kind of made it a little bit more more fun. Like, it was like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
This tournament, like, it's pure double elimination. So this is going to be a hard one, guys. This one, we got Swiss round. So let's just get into Swiss, and we're allowed to make some mistakes. This one is round robin. Okay, we're only allowed 2 losses, and let's try to get it. Like, there was planning ahead. You were able to really focus as a team how you wanted to tackle each and every tournament. With Trackmania, it's like, let's see, what's my PB? It's okay. What's my average time? It's okay. Cool. I'm out. Like,
Yeah.
and because it's just a double elimination, it's not like I can work up and maybe get some more points through Swiss. Like, there's a higher chance that I may end up playing people that I can handle. In double elimination, you got a low seed, fuck you. Like, that's what it is, So it blows my mind that things like this has already happened and it worked, and no one took any opportunity to try and really pull this off. If anything, you know what the circuit reminds me of, Import? A really, really shitty version of CSGO, like from the past year. That's what it reminds me of.
The circuit, you mean?
Yeah, the circuit, because,
Yeah.
they had IEM, they had, I think PGL, they had ESEA, and I'm missing someone. I'm missing someone hard. But, like, they had, like, 3 or 4, and they all kind of created, like, a point system that you could use as, like, an overhead World Tour points based on the event, and then they had like majors, like IEM major use seeding from other tournaments. They had ESCA something ESL, which again use points from other events. Like, what's so fucking hard about this, dude? Like, I don't understand. Even if you only had 2 months to get this together and then put it out, there are already formats that worked, and you again have to fucking reinvent the wheel, and we're left with this bullshit, dude. Oh,
The funny thing is while we're talking about this, there are people also in the Team HC Discord talking about this.
really?
Yeah, specifically the exact current topic we're on, as far as like what you've just been talking about for the last couple minutes. Like, just like the timing, the circumstances behind it's all just like, had they just, I don't know, like, this is a very bad time to start a circuit. Like, if you were to start a league rather than a circuit, I think it'd be a different story. Like, if it was an actual pro league, if there was a big person coming in, it was a pro league and it was for the pros and everything, I think it'd be a completely different situation. I don't think it would be as bad. But of course, that excludes pretty much the rest of the community. It's only just for the pro players. Pro players are taken care of. Yay! But as for a circuit that involves the entire Trackmania world, it's poor timing because the lack of notice, the lack of preparation, the weird time constraints, as well as with the weird rules. It's just it's so frustrating because, like, forget the format rules, forget, like, I don't know, there's so many things that you could overlook, and and still find it to be like, this circuit actually isn't a bad thing. Like, this circuit could be really good. Just, I don't know, maybe work with the current event organizers that have been in the game for so freaking long and making big events that could have, like, not only, like, I hate bringing up my event constantly, but I have to.
No, it's a good example.
My event being a part of the circuit, I understand that this circuit doesn't really benefit me. Like, it really doesn't.
It benefits them. Absolutely nothing for you.
It benefits them. That at maybe best, it may make it easier to convince pros to come to my events. That's about it. Or good Trackmania players to come to my events. Outside of that, like, I'm more investing in the circuit to make sure the circuit is successful by being a part of it. Like, that, I'm doing my part to make sure that Trackmania Esports is thriving still. That's how I see it. It's more of me being a part of it is more of a benefit to them than vice versa.
Yeah, literally.
Because my events,
like everything.
Yeah. At first, when the news came out, I'm not going to lie, I was panicking. I was like, what's this going to do for my event? Like, this is going to be a massive clash.
I was worried. Like, that was my biggest worry.
Because I asked NADEO multiple times, I was like, is this circuit, I know you haven't announced the circuit, I know it's like hush hush, but is it going to clash date-wise with my event? And they're like, no, we can 100% confirm it will not clash with your events. And I'm like, okay. Then they announced the circuit, and I'm like, I'm glad it doesn't clash with my event, but also you're going to have a circuit that includes events. Why didn't you tell me this? Like, my event fits perfectly for what you guys were. And then I just got the run around, whoa, blah, blah, blah. This person's in charge. I go to the person's in charge, like, well, we have time constraints, and the other person's made those time constraints. And I'm like, all right, whatever, forget it. I don't care.
Everyone had an excuse for everyone else. No one could take
had an
ownership.
excuse for everyone else. But like at first, I was freaking out. I was like, what if pro players aren't going to come because of like playoffs and World Cup? Like, well, it's too close to this day. Because that's what I had issues with when it came to Ascension. Ascension was kind of close to my events, and people were like, well, we're going to go to Ascension because it's more money, and that's a bigger investment. So we're only going to go to that. We're not going to come to your events. I've had that for other stuff too. And so I was really freaking out thinking, okay, but I need some of these people to come because that's going to be kind of a big pull for other people to come. And it luckily worked out. This year, I feel like we're going to be able to do the same. And I was worried about the circuit initially because I'm like, oh man, this really could like bite into my projected numbers of people attending.
Right.
And now that I've sat back and seen the community backlash with it and everything, I'm more relaxed about it because like I'm sure the pro players will still probably participate in that circuit just for the free money. $18,000 for World Cup is still big money to play for, a prize pool for. So
barely, but yeah.
Yeah, barely, but they're going to do it. I think once our prize pool is finally released, I think people, because right now I still have the same pro players who have always like, or the same type of individuals who have always like kind of talked down about our event, saying it's not a big event and I don't know what the heck you're talking about. I think once they see the prize pool, they'll probably reconsider that notion. But yeah, at first I was panicking. Now I'm not panicking so much, but I mean, I've at least from that regard. As far as planning for XP Evo, I am panicking about that because there's a lot of things that still need to be done. But yeah, overall, I just feel bad. I actually feel bad for tournament because I feel like in a way they were given such a crappy hand.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
they have to win with it.
Yeah, they have to run with it. They got in bed with NADEO. Now they got to deal with it.
Yeah.
But they could have saved themselves so much pain and struggle that they're about to go through for this year had they had just done the research and maybe put out a couple feelers. Like you know how I got to where I got right now with XP Evo? It was a gaming hotel in Hamburg that went around to the community, putting out a bunch of feelers of who was interested into going to a gaming hotel in Hamburg to have a tournament. That's how it all started for my event organizational journey. And with them, we partnered up and we started running tournaments together until literally after the event, their hotel closed down. And then it was just us.
Oh, no way.
But like, if it wasn't for that event and if it wasn't for that company going out and doing the research that they needed to do, you would have not had an XP Evo. You would have not had a bigger international Trackmania events for this community. So if tournament wants to have success, they needed to do that, and they haven't done that. Now they're playing behind, and they're trying to kind of appease some people, but at the same time kind of stick to their guns because they have no way, like they don't trust anybody, and I wouldn't trust anybody either. They're gonna do what they know is successful for their company, and they're gonna be like, well, this tournament works well with all these other communities, so therefore we're just gonna run it the way we know how to do it, and that's gonna be it because that's our tried and true formula. And that's the issue with companies like Tournament, because since they've got their foot into other communities, they're just going to run it the way they want to. So yeah, it's going to be a rough road this year.
Yeah.
And good luck to Tournament. And I mean, yeah.
Anyone else that tries to jump on board with them.
Yeah. I mean, I want to help them. I want to be able to support them, but as far, even having reached out to them and everything, trying to explain to them like what they're kind of missing out with us, in order to help them, they just don't seem interested, and that's perfectly fine. Their lack of interest has benefited me more than anything else because
Just less work for you.
yeah,
Less
it's
headaches.
less work for me and less hassle of trying to make sure multiple parties are happy. Now I just
Right.
got to make sure that Experion and us are happy, and that's it. So it's easy from here on out.
Pretty much. All right. Well, I think we've ranted enough.
Yep, I think so.
Yeah, and it's just at this point, I think we have to rekindle and re-meet halfway through the event to just really talk about
Oh,
how
yeah.
it
We
pulled
need
off.
to come back in like 4 months and see how things have
Yeah.
turned out so far.
Yeah, because
That'll
like
be interesting.
because one of my biggest problems with how things are going is that we are getting wait and see. Like we're still getting wait and sees to this day. And it is aggravating. So I guess at this point we have to just wait and see, and then maybe we'll have a part 2 of import and random doing another random rant, and maybe we'll have more information to rant about moving forward,
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
literally.
maybe just bring me back even if it's not event related. We can rant about other things.
Oh,
Easy.
let's be real. There are a lot of things you and I can rant about when it comes to
Easy.
either this game or anything else, because there are there are plenty of problems. You're gonna wait and see whether any of us homologate. It's a TO Mexican standoff. Yeah, you doing it? You doing it? It
Every
really
single
is.
time you've said that word, Rookie's been laughing because like every single time you've said that word, my face just like cringes.
Oh no.
It's like a side effect. I hear the word and my brain just like turns off.
It just does it for 1 second. You get a stroke.
Yep.
Oh no. All right. Well, import. It has been a pleasure, as always, to
Always.
chat with you, to hang out. Hopefully we'll be able to hang out when we're not yelling at NADEO for
True.
something. And
Yeah,
I really
hopefully.
do hope I can get my ass out to Germany, because I would love to be a part of that. Whether you want me as on the casting booth or just some random guy to make faces at you the entire time you're sitting at the couch. I'll just hold a sign in front of you while you're at the couch saying homologated the entire
Yep,
time.
exactly. Yeah, that there will be no mention of. Actually, I can't promise that because I know somebody's gonna say it. But I will try to promise that I will not mention that word once during XP.
Like I said, dude, I'm just gonna sit there with a sign and just like that, just hold a sign. That says
Dude, just hold a sign that says "homologate these nuts."
I may have to wear a shirt with that on it.
Homologate these nuts.
I honestly may wear a shirt with that, and then every time I walk past you, just slowly open up like a button-down shirt, and it just says that every time. All right. Well, thank you again, Import, for joining. I really do appreciate
you.
it. And if any one of you have been watching this on YouTube, make sure to like, subscribe, and I'll have Import's information down below in the description. Any of you that are watching on Twitch right now, in my title, click his name, give him a follow, give him some love, because Import does stream. Not as much, but
Occasionally.
occasionally.
Very, very occasionally.
But he does stream, and it is good content. I've enjoyed hanging out with him and chatting, because I always learn something from your stream. So always appreciate having you here.
My
So-
DMs are always open.
Yes, they are. Slide into those DMs, people.